Hi, this is a quick impromptu lesson because I had someone ask me about alternatives to stretching and getting more length in the back of your legs. So, number one, I should preface this by saying that our hamstrings and calves, for instance, have fixed attachment points. So unless you're having surgery, we're not going to change the length of your muscles. What we are going to do is change the ability of your muscles to move and easily contract and not give you that tight feeling so that you begin to get stronger in all your ranges of motion. And it does, in the end, help prevent injury. So we can get stronger and have a greater range of motion. So it's more my point of view that we're looking at mobility, not essentially flexibility. So we're not going to passively stretch. Passively stretching would be if I hip hinged over and then grabbed my legs and tried to force my way into more against that tension of what feels like a stretch. So let's start with the hip hinge. I frequently use a stick to point out that if your stick is touching your sacrum, hard bone on the back of your pelvis, and it's touching your rib cage, it may or may not be touching your head, and that's okay. What we want to do is maintain the touching that's happening when you're standing up. So here I am, straight up and down. And if I'm going to hip hinge, which means I'm going to send my pubic bone down in between my legs, another way to look at it is my sitting bones are pointing at the ground right now, just like this stick. And my sitting bones are going to go with the stick pointing behind me. So not up to the ceiling behind me, just pointing behind me. So as I start to hip hinge over, I've got soft knees and I start going over, over, over. And I just see at what point do I have to stop? Now, for me today, I've already had a long walk, so there's a lot of length there for me. It doesn't happen that way every day. What I frequently see happening is something like this. You end up here. Can you see that my bra has come off the stick? So my spine has cheated for me and made more movement. So my head is going down lower. So because maybe my hamstrings are feeling resistance. So I get more out of it by changing my spine, but we don't want to do that. We actually want to work on the pure hip hinge, which means keeping your bra strap on that stick. So you only go as far as you can go. If your head is currently not touching the stick, let's say it's here, just have a double chin feeling. And even if your head isn't touching the stick, try to keep the bra strap and the sacrum on the stick. So that's the idea for the hip hinge. Now that you've got the hip hinge idea down, and I should back up and say one of the things I like to do with people if they're not outdoors is have a wall behind me. Your feet are away from the wall, maybe 6 inches. You'll have to figure that out for yourself. And you feel your tights or skirt or whatever on the wall. And as you move, you feel the fabric going up the wall. And as you come up, the fabric moves the other way on the wall. If you get to a point where you're here and the fabric stops moving, but you keep going, you can be pretty certain that you rounded your spine. So kind of the opposite of the people who do that. So 2 different ways of sort of perfecting your hip hinge before you decide to try to lift something, because we are looking at the deadlift. So this is just a 15-pound kettlebell. Sometimes they're really small and heavy, but that makes them shorter. What I like about this one is, now why did I say really small and heavy? If it's 15 pounds, it's 15 pounds. But you know what I mean, a dense little kettlebell. What I like about this is it gets the arm of the kettlebell up higher, and it's more accessible for people to actually get down and touch it to be able to do the deadlift. So what we're going to do is take that hip hinge. Imagine you have a stick on your back. You're hip hinging over. Maybe you can't go any further than this. Then what you do is you bend your knees and you grab the kettlebell. Now I'm actually not in the right position. I need my feet to be further up so that the kettlebell is right below me. So I'm going to, again, hip hinge over and bend a little bit so that I can reach the kettlebell. Number one, I want to feel like I'm grabbing clutch purses under my armpits. A way that a lot of weightlifters will talk about it is as if you're breaking the handle of the bell. So that gives you the same external rotation. My elbow pits are here, and then they're here, facing forward. I love the idea of really seeing more going on here, and I feel if I grab two clutch purses, I also really feel my back. And we want that upper back nice and active. I like to cue people also to think about being very aware, maybe even scratching your hamstrings or rubbing them, being very aware that those muscles are going to be active. Sometimes I talk about flicking your heel as if you're going to be jumping your heels off of the mat. So I've got my clutch purse, and now the motivator is my bum. So up, pushing up through my heels, and my bum is going to go from this position to forward, and I'll be right stacked over my heels. And it looks something like this. So the cool part is, as with soft knees, as I slowly go back down, this is the eccentric contraction. Don't rush your way through this. Control your way back down, because essentially that's an active stretch. You're not pulling yourself into the stretch. It's a really nice stretch. It's not passive. So once again, I need to take my bum as the motivator and bring it to neutral. I don't want to come here. That would be a no-no. So hopefully this quick little tutorial gives you some ideas. If you're looking for more information and ideas, check out the videos on my Facebook group, the Osteoporosis Movement Group. All you have to do is find me on Facebook at Bone Boot Camp and ask to join the Osteoporosis Movement Group, and we've got a lot of free videos there, as well as the videos on YouTube. Thanks.